I'm not exaggerating this, my date about a month before prom tried to unask me. And being the strong-willed woman that I am, I didn't give him an out. Like, I didn't accept his unasking. Senior prom. Here's one thing I think you should know. I looked back over my journals when I did like this kind of prom series, and because I wanted to make sure that like my memory was as true to the facts as possible and that history really hadn't changed or made it more dramatic or more better for my YouTube channel. So I flipped back through my journals to check, and it was 10 times worse than I remembered. Hey, it's Abbi J, and today I'm gonna walk you through what happened my senior year of prom. Because one, I hope you're entertained. Two, girlfriend, do not be like me when it came to senior prom. But I hope you sit back and enjoy the story, because not one bit of it is exaggerated, and not one bit of it like didn't suck and wasn't just like what it was. So welcome to my senior prom review. Okay, so the story of senior prom has to start a little ways before senior prom happened. So it's my senior year. My junior year was like relationship heck. It just was the worst. And at the start of my senior year, I'm still a little bit like trying to pick up my heart, trying to figure out like who I am and what I'm doing and what my goals are. And I happened to meet this young man that I was like really taken with, and we just kind of had this flirty relationship, and then it turned into a crush, and then I asked him to a dance, and then it turned into like a full-on thing. And I really liked him, and it was really awesome to kind of be in a really great relationship again. And that was great. So in like December, we're kind of like more of a thing. And then come like January, I find out that he's like flirting with all these girls. And there's one girl in particular, I'll just call her Sarah, that like he's dated her for forever, and they're on again, off again, and they've kind of been dating like we've been dating. And it just like shattered my heart. And so I was just like, well, that sucks, you know? So I talked to him about it, and he's like, oh my gosh, no, those are all rumors. Like, we totally dated in the past, but we aren't now. So I was like, well, good. I appreciate somebody who's honest. Well, so things are going great. Come February 13th, and I looked in my journal, and these facts and these dates were just like, oh, knife in my heart, and just like, let's turn the blade a little bit. So on February 13th, he asked me to prom. And as I found is kind of the case when you're dating somebody, we were just hanging out at my house, and I wrote in my journal that I went downstairs. Okay, so this is weird, but in my childhood home, you'd go downstairs, and I had my bedroom. Next to my bedroom was a storage room that, I hate to admit this, I had so many clothes and so many dresses that half the storage room was like my dress closet, and the other half was like food and just extra stuff my parents had. So we're hanging out. I think we're gonna make like dinner, and so we go downstairs to grab some like spaghetti sauce, and I had like all my past prom dresses and all these dresses, and he like looks at it and he goes, so like, are you gonna wear this dress to prom this year? And I was like, well, that depends if you're gonna take me or not. And he was like, no, I really want to take you to prom. And so best February 13th ever, I got asked to prom. And I remember that, so I'm on like cloud nine, asked to prom. I really like this guy. And I remember, and I wrote in my journal that like, I kept asking him and kind of hinting towards Valentine's Day, which is tomorrow. And he was just like, oh yeah, I've got something for you, you know, kind of being secretive about it. The next day, February 14th, this young man who's asked me to prom the day before, we are like a thing, which even though it wasn't like official, like it was to me. It was to me and my little heart. The next day, he tells me that his family, you know, is really strict on just doing like family stuff on Valentine's Day. And he gives me, actually, let's clarify that. He says that he's got a card for me and a treat for me that he's going to give me after school. Well, so I'm like, okay, I can kind of understand the family thing on Valentine's Day, but that still kind of sucks. And why didn't you tell me? Blah, blah, blah. So my last period class of the day, before I go meet this guy where he's going to give me my Valentine's card and candy, I overhear this girl, Sarah, who's the one that he's dated in the past, talking. She's like 2 rows over from me. She's talking to her friends and she's saying, yeah, like, I'm really excited. He's going to take me to dinner and a movie. And my little ears perk up. And I'm a true believer that God makes you aware of details you need to be aware of. Like, I wouldn't, like, somebody else, it's Valentine's Day. Everybody's talking about their dates. But of course, I was hyper tuned into this girl and I just knew, like, I had this gut-wrenching feeling and I was like, she's going on a date with my man. And so sometimes I'm a little braver than I think I am. So when the bell rang, I buzzed on over to her and I wasn't even subtle about it. I was like, hey, over here, you've got a hot Valentine's date. Who's taking you? And she's like, we're making up names for this. She's like, oh, Ben. And I was like, oh, yep. And it just like sunk my heart that, he had lied to me, and then 2, that he was taking out this girl that he promised me he didn't have anything with. And so that sucked. And I remember at this point, he is texting me saying, I'm going to meet you at this spot and I've got your card and your treat and, you know, happy Valentine's Day. Love you so much. I find my baby brother, because we carpooled together. So, because I'm a senior and he's a sophomore. I find him. He takes one look at me and he goes, oh, let's go to the car. And so I grabbed my brother and we busted out of there. And I didn't even stop to talk to Ben and get his Valentine's card and his Valentine's treat, which to his credit, they probably were real. I never got those. So I don't even know if those were real or not. I got in the car. I had my brother drive home because I just cried my eyes out. And so February 13th, he asked me to prom. February 14th, I find out he's cheating on me. Like, he spends that whole rest of the day, he called me, blah, blah, blah. Like, for the next weeks, he's all making it up to me and blah, blah, blah. And this is the part that just, like, hurt my heart so bad as I looked at my journals, was just, like, I wasn't mature enough to just, like, cut my losses and walk away from this guy. I wasn't mature enough to just, like, look at somebody's actions and realize that they're not congruent with what they're telling me. If anything, I was glad I read my journals again, because there was one entry, this is a couple weeks later, you know, where I'm talking to him. He's tried to, like, tell me he's so sorry and, like, make up with me. And so I finally, like, talked to him and I typed that one out. So I had, like, word for word what he'd said to me. And it did make me feel better, because I'm like, this guy was telling me that he loved me. This guy was telling me that, you know, this date with Sarah was set up way before we were a thing, and it's also her birth, all this stuff, you know? And so I believed him and I took him back. And so that's in like the week or 2 after Valentine's. So now we're like a thing and things are great from February to March until and like prom's getting really close. Like I think it was like end of March, 1st of April kind of dealio. So that all happens and we're good now. Like we're doing great now and I'm really excited about prom. And unlike my other prom stories, I bought a prom dress and it was like $125, which I know is nothing in the world of prom dresses, but for me, that was so much money. But I was like beyond excited and I felt so beautiful in this dress. So come March, we're hanging out and this guy, Ben, says to me, hey, so I'm thinking about taking you to Viewmont's prom. And I looked at him and I said, Viewmont's prom? Like, oh, like we're gonna go to Viewmont and Davis's prom? Because that was like my high school. And I was like, well, that'd be kind of fun. Like 2 dances. I get to wear my dress twice. And he's like, well, no, so I was just thinking I would just take you to Viewmont's dance. What do you think about that? And I didn't get, like, I kind of stared at him for a little bit and I said, why? Like, has something come up that, like, you can't go to Davis's prom anymore? And I was thinking, like, maybe a family event, maybe, like, a big trip. Like, something had maybe come up that he couldn't make the dates anymore. And, Lacey was being honest, like, and he was honest. He said, here's the deal. He said, I told Sarah months ago that I would take her to prom. And she still thinks that I'm going to take her to prom. And she's bought a dress, and her mom called my mom, and my mom said, I got to figure out my crap. And so it really helped me out if I could take you to Viewmont's dance and I could take her to Davis's dance, because I told her a long time ago that I would go to prom with her. Oh, like that. That sucked. Like, that sucked so bad. And I got so mad. And I can't remember if I cried. I remember being really mad at me, like, okay, well, I'm gonna take you home, like, right now. Like, I didn't even know how to, like, respond to that. Like, he's unasking me to our senior prom that is weeks away. Everybody at the school knows that I'm going with him. I left out the whole detail that, like, somebody had hinted at this to me a couple days, like, a week before, that he was gonna, like, that she was going to prom with him, and I, like, called him out on it, and he was like, no, I'm taking you. I don't know what she thinks. That was, like, a week ago, and now he's, like, telling me that it's actually true, and that she's got this dress, which I felt so bad. I had this total complex of, like, why would you do that? I don't like this girl because you pit us against each other, but I also feel so bad that somebody out there has got a dress and thinks they're going to prom with you, just like I've bought a dress and think I'm going to prom with you. So he's unasking me to this dance. And to my credit, which I wish I'd handled this differently, I was like, no. You are going to take me to our high school prom. And you can take her to Viewmont's prom, or you can take her to some other school's prom. But you asked me, and everybody knows I'm going with you, and I don't think I could get another date at this point. And so I didn't let him unask me to prom. Which I don't know. Like, looking back, I wish you could play coulda, woulda, shoulda. Like, I admire my strength for being like, no, like, figure out your crap, and you gotta fix this situation. Don't make me fix your situation. But I kind of wish that I'd said, like, sure, yeah, take her to prom because we're done. And I never want to talk to you again. And please don't text me. Please don't call me. Like, that would have saved me years of heartbreak, because this guy and I had a relationship outside of high school. Insane. I know. When you look back at your own history, you're going to say, I was so dumb from this age to this age. That's me right now. but it happened. So yeah, so he tried to unask me to prom, and I said no. So prom gets closer, and he does. He takes her to another prom, and I'm not sure how that went. I'm sure great. Whatever. But he takes me to our senior prom, and it was just like a pretty normal dance. Like, he took me to a nice dinner, and then we went to prom, and like, it was just fun and regular like it always is. And then afterwards, we hung out and had like a great time. And so like the actual prom for those couple of hours was like fine. And he was a great date. And I was really happy because I was so naive and just so wanting to make it work so bad that I was willing to like brush aside all the other months of facts that had led up to us going to prom. But yeah, so the actual prom was like fine. And then from then on till when we graduated, me and this guy had like a really like normal and great relationship, and I thought our worries were behind us, which wasn't the case, but that's a whole nother video for a whole nother time. But as I look back on my senior prom and kind of like, wow, what did I learn about this and what can you glean from this? One, if a guy tries to unask you to a dance, let him. I guess that's kind of, I lived the other side of that where I said no, like you're gonna take me to the dance, and it was like the actual dance was fine. But if you want like a relationship with this guy, or if you feel like you had a relationship with this guy and he's trying to unask you to a dance, let him unask you to a dance and then break up with him immediately and delete his number and never talk to him again, right? Because they're just not that into you. Like this guy just wasn't that into me, and it took me years to realize that. And little fact for you, Ben married Sarah, so I'm like thrilled for him. Like we're actually friends. Like if I saw him, it'd be like totally fine. But like reading my journals was super hard because it sucked, and you don't know your future and you don't know what's ahead of you. So moral of the story, I just hope you enjoy prom. And if you're going with crappy dates, like ask somebody else, go with somebody else. Don't go to prom. I feel like it would have been better for me on February 14th to be like, hey, remember how you asked me to prom yesterday? Yeah, not happening. I don't want to see you again. I don't want to talk to you. Don't ask me to prom. Could have saved me a lot of trouble. But yeah, senior prom with Abbi. That's what happened. So if you haven't checked out, be sure to check out my sophomore prom and my junior prom. Because yeah, prom was a little bit different for me. So wishing you the best prom. I hope that you have the best experiences. And I hope that if anything, you can just laugh with me in this video. So can't wait to see you in my next one. Abbi J out.